The Wolf and the Sheep, a lesson on trust and wisdom in a dense, untamed forest, where sunlight barely touched the ground and streams trickled like silver ribbons. A cunning wolf roamed. The animals whispered tales of his strength and trickery, for the wolf had always hunted not just with teeth, but with lies and deceit. One fateful day, the wolf engaged in a brutal fight with a great brown bear over a deer. The bear's massive claws left deep gashes across the wolf's side, and though the bear walked away victorious, the wolf lay beneath an old oak tree, battered, bruised, and hungry. His ribs ached with every breath, his paws trembled, and his throat was parched. Days passed. The wolf grew weaker, and despair began to settle into his heart. "If I don't eat soon," the wolf thought, licking his dry lips, "I will perish like a forgotten shadow." It was then, by sheer luck, that a young sheep wandered into the forest. The sheep, small and timid, had strayed too far from its flock while chasing butterflies across the meadows. Her fleece was soft and white, her eyes bright with innocence as she marveled at the trees and flowers she had never seen before. The wolf, despite his pain, felt a glimmer of hope. He watched the sheep through half-closed eyes and forced a weak, pitiful smile. A chance," he thought. "If I cannot hunt, I will use my tongue instead of my teeth." "Dear little sheep," the wolf croaked, his voice smooth like silk but hiding its sharp edges. "Please don't be afraid. I mean you no harm. I have been injured and left here, unable to move. All I ask is for a small kindness. Could you fetch me some water from the stream? Just a sip will give me the strength to find food and recover." The sheep paused, her ears twitching as she eyed the wolf. His voice was soft, almost kind, but something didn't feel right. "Why do you need water?" she asked warily, staying at a distance. The wolf sighed dramatically, as though her question pained him. "Oh, kind and gentle friend, water is all I need to stand again. Then I'll find solid food, a rabbit or bird, perhaps, and heal myself. You'd be helping a poor creature in need." The sheep tilted her head, her instincts buzzing like alarm bells. "Solid food?" she repeated, narrowing her eyes. "What kind of solid food?" The wolf hesitated for only a moment, but it was enough. "Oh, anything I can find," he replied hastily, his smile faltering. "I would never harm such a generous soul like you." But the sheep was no fool. Her mother had warned her about wolves and their tricks. She stepped back, her heart thudding. "You don't want water to heal," she said firmly. "You want water, so you'll have the strength to eat me." The wolf's eyes flashed, and his charming mask slipped. For a moment, the predator gleamed through his broken body. "You misunderstand," he snarled, his voice dropping its softness. But before he could speak again, the sheep bolted, dashing into the forest with surprising speed. The wolf roared in frustration, his hunger and anger boiling over. "You won't escape me forever," he growled, dragging himself painfully to his feet. The sheep sprinted through the forest, leaping over roots and ducking under branches. She could hear the wolf's distant howls behind her, and though she knew he couldn't catch her now, fear drove her forward. "I must find my way home," she thought. "But how do I escape this endless forest?" Suddenly, the sheep stumbled into a clearing and skidded to a halt. Before her stood a majestic stag with antlers that seemed to touch the sky. The stag turned his wise eyes toward her and spoke softly. "Why do you run, little one?" "A wolf," the sheep cried, trembling. "He tried to trick me, and now he's hunting me." The stag nodded solemnly. "Fear not. The forest watches over those who act with caution and kindness. I will help you." With that, the stag knelt low. "Climb onto my back," he said. The sheep hesitated for only a moment before clambering onto the stag's sturdy frame. With a bound, the stag took off, his hooves thundering across the earth. The wolf, still limping through the underbrush, saw the stag carrying the sheep and snarled in fury. "You think you can escape me?" he roared. But the stag ran with a speed unmatched by any creature in the forest. They weaved through trees, crossed rushing streams, and leapt over fallen logs. The wolf chased them as best he could, his weakened body struggling to keep up, until at last he collapsed beneath a thorny bush, panting and defeated. The sheep clung to the stag's back as he galloped to the edge of the forest, where the meadows stretched wide and golden. There, waiting anxiously, stood the sheep's family. The stag slowed to a stop, and the sheep climbed down, tears of relief in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered to the stag. "You saved me." The stag smiled kindly. "You saved yourself, little one. By listening to your instincts and heeding the wisdom of those who know better, you avoided danger." The sheep's parents ran to her, nuzzling her with joy. "We were so worried," her mother exclaimed. "I met the wolf," the young sheep said, "but I remembered your words and didn't trust his lies. I ran, and the stag saved me." The flock gathered close, all listening intently as the sheep told her tale. From that day on, she became known as the wisest of the young sheep, and her story was told to every lamb as a warning about the dangers of deceit and the importance of listening to those who are wiser. As for the wolf, he lay beneath the thorny bush for days, nursing his wounds and his wounded pride. His tricks had failed, and the sheep had outsmarted him. Eventually, he limped away, forever wary of the sheep who were not as helpless as they seemed.